And this is very important in reference to the situation of what they had tried to say in reference to Diane Armadillo and her father and her brother possibly trying to rape me in California. That she was the one that had either tasered me and she had allowed her brother or father into the apartment. That has to be investigated if that's what happened, when they had tasered me and rendered me unconscious and then they had tried to rape me or something. And another thing, in reference to Diane Armadillo's birthday party that evening or something, they had tried to communicate that her and all her men friends was trying to rape me that night when, the police showed up and said the music was too loud. So then I was like, hey, everybody's got to leave, I didn't turn the music up. They turned the music up. But that night, that was the night that Diane Armadillo tripped outside my apartment when I was telling everybody to leave. And, but she fell on the carpet, so it wasn't like falling on the pavement or falling down stairs or any shit like that. But this is just points of information that she had contact with Frank Sinatra, and she had contact with some of the men that had possibly been involved in the murder of Doris Duke, which is my mother. You guys know that, right? And my father, you have looked up the information of my father was Walt Disney Sr. Role protocols in the media in California, which means every celebrity and entertainer is required by the Screen Actors Union to know the information of who I am and who my biological parents are. That's a fact. Same thing with directors, writers, and producers that are on the elite level, because everything has to be edited and documented with representation of the royal protocol in American media companies of my father, which I'm the only owner of my mother and father's companies in the media too. So, but in reference to Diane Armadillo's birthday party that night, where her father and her brother had possibly tried to rape me even months before then or something, before she had pulled the stunt of falling down outside my apartment. And somebody had said that she had possibly been in possession of $1 million from one of my mother's companies or properties that my mother, or one of my, either the maid or butler from my mother's side or my father's side or something, had handed her a check to give to me or something, but she never gave it to me. But then she had contact with Frank Sinatra and Frank Sinatra Jr., I guess, and I don't know if he took the money from her or if there was a check or not. This sounded like man was trying to make me burp. But the point of information, if she was in possession of money, she gets prosecuted. If she had allowed men into the apartment after she had rendered me unconscious, she gets prosecuted for that too. If she had other men in my apartment, she gets prosecuted for that. Because she had a key to the property or the apartment because she worked at the same restaurant that I worked at. Somebody said, well, why was you working there? Because people was blocking me from my mother and father's mansions. Government was trying to play their brainwashing tricks, or trying to hide information, or trying to hide documents, or trying to hide property keys. Or the people that murdered my mother, some of them was residing in California when they had conspired against my mother. But I was at my mother's mansion at the time my mother got murdered. Meaning and then I got kidnapped from California and ended up in Indiana. And then I had to work and save money to go back out to California, which is another violation because I was supposed to have trust fund monies and revenues, and my parents had set up budgets for me, which would have been easily enough for me to travel. Plus, my mother and father owned limousine companies and private jets, and commercial airlines too, didn't they? And my father even owned some airports. I don't know if my father owned LAX Airport, but you might want to look that information up too. And an O'Hare Airport and a Las Vegas Airport. I'm not sure. You have to look it up. But in reference to the information, these people trying to call me a nobody all the time, obviously they're the thieves. But in reference to that night of Diane Armadillo's birthday, somebody had communicated that they had rendered me unconscious and those men that she was with tried to rape me. They would all need to get arrested and they would need to get prosecuted if that was the case. I just say it in general because to see what information or evidence people have. I don't know if Hughes Aircraft in Culver City has the information, or if CNN or the news networks has the information or not. Because I was on satellite then too, when I was in Los Angeles. Most people know that, right? I don't know if Walt Disney World has the information, if those individuals that Diane Armadillo was hanging out with tried to rape me. And if somebody has the information, you need to submit it to the court so every violator can be prosecuted for attempts of murder and sex crimes and violent crimes. Because, I only date females of certain races and religions. Same thing as anybody else. If anybody else tried to rape me in California, government people, if there was any dirty Chinese men that tried to rape me or any other person, there needs to be court cases against each and every perpetrator.